Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Sarasvati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Paramananda madhavam. Okay, let us read verses 15 to 17, what we covered last week. Let's read that. Okay. Namam dushkriti no mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya pahrita jnanaha asuram bhavamashritaha chaturvidha bhajante mam janah sukritinarjuna arto jignyasurartharthi Jnani cha bharatarshabha. Tesham jnani nityayukta Ek Bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyaratham aham sacha mama priyaha. So what we saw last time is why the question was asked, why doesn't everyone surrender to Bhagwan? Why doesn't everyone surrender to Bhagwan if Bhagwan said, if you surrender to me, I will help you cross this Maya? So he said there are dushkritis. Dushkritis means they are people, they are beings who have a lot of papa karmas or negative tendencies. And because they have such negative tendencies, they are mudhaha. They are fools. Means they're focusing on the outer and the lower. They're mudhaha. And because their focus is all on the outer objects, on the outer things and experiences, then what happens is asuram bhavamashritaha. They become like asuras. Means they just keep reveling in sense objects. And then mayaya pahrita jnanaha. It's as though their knowledge, their wisdom, whatever little wisdom they have left is captured by maya. In the sense that it's not that they're just enjoying and indulging or overindulging, but they're also doing prohibited things, illegal things, wrong things. And because of that, naradhamaha, they go and they become the lowest of the low. So there are people, because of their past karmas, their past tendencies, they become so extrovert. And they are just reveling in the outside world. So those people, Bhagavan said, they don't come to me. Their minds have been kidnapped and they're not turning with it. And that's why it's difficult for them to cross Maya. But he said now in verse 16, there are what we call Sukritis. Sukritis are the ones that have done good karma. And because they have done good karma, the most beautiful thing is that they are seeking me, or they are seeking through me. So they are seeking me, or they are seeking through me. So of those that are seeking, there are three: the Arta, Artharti, Jigjnasu. The Arta is seeking through me. Arta is the one that is getting really, really troubled, distressed. So many things are happening in life and they're so incredibly troubled. And so at least they are coming to me, Bhagavad says. They are coming to me to be rid of all their troubles. And then the next one is Artharti. They are seeking through me. They want some pleasure, some wealth, health. They want the welfare of their family. They want grandchildren. They want children, whatever it is they want. But they're seeking through me. At least they're coming to me. They're becoming my customer, Bhagavan says. They're stopping by my store. They're seeking through me. And the Jigjnasu are the ones who are actually seeking me. They're questioning, who is this Bhagavan? Who is this God? Who is this Supreme Being? They're coming again to me. So they're coming in my direction. But amongst this, there is the Jnani. The Jnani is the one who has realized the self, the wise. The wise is not seeking anymore, because the wise is one with that ultimate reality. So he said there are 4 types: Arta, Artharti, Jigjnasu, and Jnani. And amongst them, Jnani is the one that is one with me. So in verse number 17, he makes this point very clear. He says that Jnani, of all of them, the Jnani is NityaYukta, is ever connected to me, means it's ever with me, the Jnani. And we talked about this because in the other cases, the devotion or the bhakti can grow or shrink. When people get what they want, the bhakti is very strong. And when they don't, it's very weak. When they're having a good day, bhakti is very, very strong. But when they're not, it's weak. So for all of these, the bhakti or the devotion, it fluctuates. It fluctuates. And for the Arta, for the ones who are distressed, when they are finally free from their troubles, what happens? They forget Bhagavan. They become disconnected again, right? Like Sugriva. Sugriva was really, really finding someone to help him to defeat Bali. And when he found Bhagavan Rama and Sri Rama said, I will help you, what happened? Sugriva forgot all about it. Sri Rama said, I will help you, but Sugriva, you help me find Sita. And when Sugriva got that calmness and that promise from Sri Rama, he forgot and he started indulging in pleasure. So the Arta Bhakti, once they get relieved from their troubles, they also tend to forget God. Again, they're separated. The Artharti, once they get their pleasures, once they get the pleasure, whatever they're seeking, if they're seeking marriage and they find a partner, if they're seeking children and they have children, if they're seeking good health and they get it, once they get it, they also forget about Bhagavan, because now they're so much into what they have received. So again, there's a disconnect. And for the Jigjnasu, on the path of their seeking, sometimes they get very tired and frustrated. Sometimes they say, this is too hard. I don't know if I can do this. And so sometimes they get disconnected. Say, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should postpone. Maybe I should do this in the next life. I don't have to do this right here and now. So sometimes, even for the seeker, there's a disconnect. It could be because of the lack of persistence, that it's getting too hard, the lack of patience, or even doubt. Is there really something like this? And so with all of these three, you're always going to find some kind of disconnect. But with the Jnani is ever united with God, because the self of the Jnani or the wise is the Atman, and the self of God is the Atman. They're ever united. The Jnani knows themselves to be existence, consciousness, bliss. And the reality of God is existence, consciousness, bliss. So I can never say that I don't exist. I am never away from existence, right? We are never away from awareness. Even in deep sleep, there is awareness. And we are actually never away from bliss. Bliss is our own true nature. So even if we wanted to be disconnected from the Atman, we cannot. We cannot be disconnected from the self, because that's our very own essence. So therefore, NityaYukta, the Jnani is ever yoked to me. And Ek Bhakti, we saw this also, Ek Bhakti Vishishyate, that the bhakti of the Jnani is such that wherever the Jnani sees, it's only Bhagwan. Everything is the expression of God. Everything is God in itself. So there cannot be a bhakti for God and something else, because this whole world is an appearance on that divine being. This whole world is an appearance in consciousness. So we saw NityaYukta is Brahma Satyam, and Ek Bhakti is Jagan Mithya. Means that everything is just this consciousness. And he says, Priyo hi jnanino atyartham. Means for that jnani, I am Priya. I am loved. I am the most loved. Atyartham. And Sacha Mama Priyaha. And that Jnani is the most loved or most dear to me. Now here, how do we measure love? We measure love by identification. So the more we identify with someone or something, the more we love. For example, if somebody is from the same place as us, oh, you're also from the south of India, I am from the south of India, the love starts to increase. Right? Oh, you are from Chinmay Mission, I am from Chinmay Mission. The love starts to increase. So whenever we identify with someone, the love increases. The love becomes deeper. You're a seeker on this path. I'm also a seeker. You're studying the Gita. I'm also studying the Gita. With the Jnani and Bhagwan, there's a total identification. There's a total identification in the sense that the identification is so complete, it is ati artham. It transgresses everything. The identification transgresses everything. So it is beyond the body, it's beyond the 5 koshas, beyond the annamaya kosha, beyond the food sheath, beyond the pranamaya kosha, beyond the vital air sheath, beyond the manomaya kosha, the mental sheath, beyond the vijnanamaya kosha, intellectual sheath, and beyond the anandamaya kosha. So this unity with Ishvara or with God is beyond all the koshas. It's a total identification. So that is why the Jnani and the Bhakta are one and the same. Because the Jnani is the truest Bhakta. It is a love of total identification. The essential nature of Jnani is Atman, and that essential nature of Ishvara is Atman, and it's transgressing all of the sheaths. They are united. They are beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, beyond everything. They are one and the same. This oneness of Jnani and Ishvara, Jnani and God, is beyond time. It's beyond space. It's beyond object. So that Jnani, the self of Jnani and the self of Ishvara is one and the same. So he says that the Jnani is most loved to me and I am most loved to the Jnani because there's a complete identification. There's no difference at all. So of these four, Jnani is best. Now, the question arises, what about the other three? Are they not also dear to Bhagavan? So Bhagavan answers here in verse number 18. Udara sarva evaite.
Udara sarva evaite.
Jnani tvatmaiva me matam.
Jnani tvatmaiva me matam.
Astitas sahi yuktatma.
Astitas sahi yuktatma.
Mamevanutamam gatim.
Mamevanuttamam gatim.
Udara sarva evaite. Jnani tvatmaiva me matam. Astitas sahi yuktatma. Mamevanutamam gatim. So he says, Udaraha sarva eva ete. Ete. These other three whom we saw in verse 17, Arta, Artharti, Jigjnasu, Udaraha, they are very noble also. They are noble indeed. But Jnani is tu. But tu here is to say but. So tu Jnani Atma eva me matam. The Jnani is my very own self, my Atman. Astitaha. And why? That Jnani is established. Saha astitaha. They are established and yuktatma, steadfast in the mind. Mam eva anuttamam gatim. And has me alone, mam eva anuttamam gatim, as the supreme goal. So noble indeed are all these, but the wise I deem as my very self, for steadfast in the mind he is established in me alone as a supreme goal. So what does this mean? It means that the other three, Bhagavan says, are also noble. And the beautiful thing about the other three is because they're turning within. See, somebody who is Arta, somebody who's distressed, who's troubled, who's perplexed, who's going through a lot of things, they can go to so many people in so many places to get help. They can go outwards. They can go to a friend. They can go and join some kind of help group. They can go to the internet and Google. They can go to ChatGPT. They can go to all these outer things. But the fact that the Arta is coming to me, that's a very beautiful thing, Bhagwan says. Even that is the nobility. The nobility is that that kind of seeker, the one who's distressed, is turning towards me. The Artharti, the one who wants wealth, wants health, wants family, wants progeny, they could go to so many other things. They could go to an astrologer, they could go to a doctor, they could go to so many different avenues. But the fact that this Artharti is turning towards me, that's very, very noble. There are those who, let us say, they want children. So there are temples in Bharat that you go to for pilgrimage, you go pray, and when you pray, then, you do a certain ritual, and then you get. Or there are certain prayers that they recite, the Bhagavatam. They recite that, and then they are blessed with progeny. Whatever it is, they're going through Bhagavan. And even the Jigjnasu can start to seek Bhagavan through other things, right? Can go through again, online mediums, chat GPT, all these places. But if the Jignasu or the seeker is praying to me and saying, I want to know you, I want to find you, please bless me, then that's very noble. So he says, even if they are praying for something else, they're seeking through me or they're seeking me, they are noble because they're coming to me. They're becoming my customer. They might be buying from my store, Bhagavan saying, they might be buying from my store and buying some things from another store, but eventually they'll keep coming to me. They'll keep coming to me. He says that the Jnani is my own self. And this is actually a Mahavakya. This is actually a, like the Mahavakyas, like Aham Brahmasmi, that I am Brahman, or Tattvamasi, that thou art, these great statements. This is also a great statement because this directly is saying that the one who has realized the self is me alone. There is no difference between Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. There's no difference between God, the world, and the individual. Jnani is my very own self. And he says, Me matam. This is what I believe. This is my nishchaya. The commentary, it says, this is my nishchaya. And here, in this regard, he said earlier, Mattaha parataram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Means, O Arjuna, there is nothing whatsoever than me. I alone am like the string where all the necklace beads are strung. So he says, I alone am. So the Jnani has understood that I alone am expressing as everything. So Jnani is my very own self. Never disconnected from me, never apart from me. Jnani is me alone. Astitaha sayuktatma, and that Jnani is established in me and steadfast. So steadfast meaning that ever abiding in me. And astitaha, established in me. Why? Because Jnani said, Mam eva anuttamam gatim. This alone is my supreme goal. This alone is my purpose. In Kathopanishad, there's a very beautiful mantra that says, Nayam Atma, like Balahinena labhyaha, Shavanena labhyaha, Medhaya labhyaha, means this Atma is not gained just by listening to it. This Atma is not gained by reflecting on it. Yame Vesha Vrinute Tena labhyaha. This Atma, this truth is gained by the one who chooses it. This is who gets it. It's not just the one who listens to it, who reflects on it, who attends satsang, because we can do all of these things, but have we chosen it? When it says here, Mam eva anutamam gatim, means this Jnani has chosen me alone, has chosen me alone. And that's why the Jnani is so dear to me, because Jnani has chosen me alone. An example is given, that sometimes when we go visit people, we say, hey, I'm passing by, so can I just drop by your house and say hello? Or can I just drop by and, give you company or see you? And that's a nice drop by. But there's a different sentiment when we say, hey, I want to see you. When can I come see you? And I just want to be with you and spend time with you. That's a very different feeling. Right? Because that we're making a priority. I want to come see you, be with you, spend time with you. I don't want to do anything else. Then you feel so special, right? Because only that. But if it's like, hey, I want to just drop by, and hey, I'm passing by. Hey, I might as well come to your house because I'm 2 minutes away. That is not eva, that is api. I'm there, so I might as well do that. But for Jnani, it is eva. It is that alone as a supreme purpose, supreme goal. And this is why Jnani is dear. So in this, there should be no doubt that jnana and bhakti, they are not two different things. Some people think that jnana and bhakti are different. That jnana is the path of knowledge and bhakti is the path of devotion. This kind of thinking is there in the preliminary stages. But in the ultimate stage, that knowledge itself is devotion. And that devotion itself is knowledge. Knowledge itself is devotion because when we realize the self, when one realizes the self, then they become a lover of the world because they see God in everything. They become a lover of the world and they become that giving type of person. They just give themselves. They just give themselves so naturally because they see that it is just my expression. So one who knows, Gurudev also says, one who knows becomes a lover of the universe. So in that ultimate standpoint, Jnani is the ultimate bhakta. And the bhakta also, the one who becomes this lover of the universe, who sees God in everything, is the same one who knows that truth. It's founded on that truth. It's one who comes to realize that, I actually am that truth everywhere. So in the ultimate standpoint, jnana and bhakti, they're one and the same. You can't actually separate them. Now, he's going to talk a little bit more about this jnani. We're going to enter now verse number 19. And this is a very beautiful verse. So let us chant this verse. Bahunam janmanam ante
Bahunam janmanam ante
Jnanavan mam prapadyate
Jnanavan mam prabhadyate
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Samahatma sudurlabha
Samahatma sudurlabha
Bahunam janmanam ante Jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabha Bahunam janmanam ante. Ante, at the end of janmanam, of many births, bahunam, at the end of many births, jnanavan, the wise person, mam prapadyate, reaches me. The wise person reaches me. Vasudevaha sarvam iti, and the realization is Vasudeva is all of this. Samahatma, this great soul or great being, sudurlabha, is very hard to find. At the end of many births, the wise man comes to me, realizing that all this is Vasudeva, the innermost self. Such a great soul is very hard to find. So we will see portion by portion. First, we will see Bahunam Janmanam Ante. When there is a great person who has come to the realization that the self in me is the self in all, how does that happen? That happens after many lives. That's not coming after one life, after two lives. It's coming after many, many lives. Because it's a build-up of all sadhanas. In this regard, I'm going to talk about a verse. I'm going to refer to a verse in Viveka Chudamani. This is verse number 2. And in this verse, it talks about 8 steps. 8 steps that we all have to go through to realize the self. And at the end, it's very beautiful. He says, this is not possible without punya. Punya means without good actions, without good merits. So I'll recite the verse, then we will go through the 8 steps. Jantūnām narajanma durlabhamatah pumstvam tato viprata tasmadaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvamasmat param atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavaha brahmatmana samstitihi muktirno shata janma koti sukritaihi punyir vina labhyate. So what does he say? Jantunam narajanma durlabha mataha. The first step is to get a human birth. This is something that we all have to come to. And when we come to this, we have achieved step 1. Because the realization of truth is possible only in a human birth. And we saw this also earlier in one of the verses. It said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Only very, very few will come to this knowledge. So first is a human birth. Second is pumstvam. Pumstvam here means an intellectual ability. An intellectual ability to seek, because this knowledge is gained through vichara. It's gained through a deep questioning and inquiry. This is not for people who don't question. There are people, many things happen in life, many things go on and on, but very few will sit there and say, how is this all happening? How is this world actually moving? How is this world functioning? Who makes all of these laws? There are very, very few people that question. And that's called pumstvam. Pumstvam means that ability to question about humanity. So that is a second portion, and this requires, and this one word, this requires a mind that is introverted. Because a mind that's extroverted is not going to question these things. A mind that's extroverted is going to talk about where are we going to eat, what are we going to do, where are we going to go, right? It's all that kind of talk. But this kind of mind has the capacity to think deeply. Pumstva. Then tato viprata. Viprata here means a sattvic attitude. This is the third thing, right? Once that inquiry starts dawning, the third stage is, can we sustain it? And we can only sustain any inquiry or any study through purity. So have we started to develop a sattvic lifestyle? Not just one aspect of our life, but sattvic everything. Have we been able to make each portion of our life sattvic? Our daily routine, our work, our relationships, the way we do things, is it in a sattvic state? The fourth one is tasmat vaidika dharma marga parata. A strong adherence to dharma. So not only somebody who's turning within, developing a sattvic lifestyle, but a strong adherence to dharma. Because remember, without dharma, we cannot get to Brahma. So somebody who's doing what they're supposed to be doing, has a clear understanding of what their roles and responsibilities are in life, and they fulfill them. They do them. Then vidvatvam. Vidvatvam here, which is step number 5, indicates shravanam. Now, this is a person who has come to the feet of a teacher to listen. I had these intellectual inquiries. I've been working on myself. I'm living this life of dharma. Now I want some deeper knowledge. Now I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, and I can actually take it in. I can actually digest it. So shravana, one who comes to shravana. Then atma anatma vivechanam. The sixth one is the one who comes through mananam. Here, this Atman Atma Vivechanam means the one who's able to discern between the self and the not self, meaning now I turn this inquiry into a subjective inquiry. In my own self, am I able to separate what is Atman from Anatman? Am I able to understand it? Am I able to clearly distinguish it? In my own self, can I see it? That's called manana. Next, the next step, the seventh step, swanubhavaha. Swanubhavaha indicates nididhyasanam. Can I seamlessly contemplate on this truth? Can I sit with this truth? Can I just dwell on it? Can I just think about it? Can I just be in it? And step 8 is brahmatmana samstitihi. Due to that nididhyasanam, because one's able to contemplate on it, think about it deeply, in mananam all the doubts are removed. In nididhyasanam, then one can just abide deeply. Then what happens is brahmatmana samstitihi. One is just ever in themselves, ever abiding in that nature. And that is called mukti. That's called moksha. Moksha is that abidance in our true nature. So what are the 8 steps? First is human birth. Then after that, that intellectual orientation to be able to ask questions. Then living a sattvic lifestyle. Then being steadfast in our dharma. Then shravanam, step 5, mananam, step 6, nididhyasanam, step 7, and this firm abidance comes in step 8, brahmatmana samstitihi. And this leads to mukti. And he says here, shata janma koti sukritehi punyer vina labhyate. This kind of a perfect liberation cannot be had without earned merits of hundreds of crores of lives lived intelligently. So this kind of thing doesn't happen in one life. Bahunam janmanam ante. After practicing, after keeping it going, this comes. And remember what we saw in chapter 6, right? We pick up from where we left off. So we don't have to keep starting every life, start again from scratch. We pick up exactly where we left off. So once a person comes to this realization, Jnanavan mam prapadyate, they reach me. Bhagavan says they reach me. What is the nature of their realization? So they are abiding in that self. As Vasudevaha Sarvam Iti means everything is Vasudeva. Vasu means existence. Deva means consciousness. Sarvam means all. So everything is nothing but existence consciousness. Vasudevaha Sarvam Iti. Everything is existence consciousness. Everything is Brahman alone. There is nothing other than Brahman. So the same thing what was said earlier, here he is saying, this is what the Jnani, this is what the wise realize. There's nothing else. Everything, if you see it in from a perspective of a, totally Jnani, you would say, everything is Brahman. You see it from the perspective of a Bhakta, somebody would say, then everything is God. Everything is nothing but God. This is the highest realization. So if we were to say in this path, what is the highest, what is the best thing we can do? If we were to say in our lives, now, how do I come to this? What is the best thing I can do in my life? The best thing we can do is Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. realize that everything is the self. Everything is the self. When we just do this drig drishya viveka, when we just say that I am Atman, different from the body, mind, intellect, I'm different from my thoughts, I'm different from my ego. When we just do this, that is not the full realization. Because there's still something that I want to be away from my body. I want to be separate from my mind. I want to be separate from my intellect, separate from my ego. So let me go into silence so I can be completely separate from all of these things. Let me sit quietly on my own so I can be away from all of these things. This is not the highest realization. The highest realization is I am the self, and the body is appearing on the self. Mind is appearing on the self. Intellect is appearing on the self. Ego is appearing on the self. So there's no problem whatsoever. There's no fear. There's no fear of anything. Vasudeva Sarvam. Now, some might ask, how do we practice this in our daily life? Let's say if we want to get to this stage, Vasudeva Sarvam, there are several levels which we can practice. One is the level of acceptance. So let us say if I'm not yet there where I see this whole world as an expression of God, then see this whole world, this whole life as a blessing from Vasudeva. Means every single experience is there to take me to Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Every experience that I'm going through is taking me to evolve closer to the truth. So sometimes we might have some tough experiences. We might have loss. We might go through health problems, money problems, some societal issues. So many things that we may go through and we're wondering, why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to us? Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. Trust that wherever we're placed, whatever we're going through right now, it's for our own growth. If good things are happening to us, we are blessed with all of these things. We're blessed with a home, we're blessed with family, we're blessed with wealth. Then why are we blessed with all of that? What should we do with all of that? Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. Seek the truth. So for a sadhaka, how to take this Vasudeva Sarvamiti is to understand everything given to me is for my evolution towards that. Whether it's seen as a negative circumstance or a positive circumstance, we should even stop seeing it as negative or positive. Just see, this thing happened today, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. This is connecting me to the higher. And when a seeker lives like this, there's a beautiful expression of acceptance. They just accept everything that happens. They just accept. Because everything is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. We have faith that Bhagwan is drawing us closer. So one level of sadhana is to see everything as a blessing. It is not good. It is not bad. It is a blessing. It is taking me towards Vasudeva. The second is to see that all my actions, all my words, all my thoughts are dedicated to Vasudeva. And this is also something that happened, or the question that was asked last time. How do we apply this knowledge? How we apply this knowledge is to dedicate everything towards that truth. What am I doing? How am I living my life? Is everything towards that? Is everything towards the realization of the self? And if there is something that is not, what is it? I'd given you this example of a sun before. So Surya, Bhagwan, is very beautiful because sun is whole and then it has all of those rays. So is everything connecting me to Vasudeva Sarvamiti? Is everything connecting me to that? And in my life, if I am doing something, I am in something that's not connecting me towards it, why am I doing it? Life is so short. Life's purpose is for the realization of truth. Why am I doing it? So Vasudeva Sarvamiti, the second sadhana, is to center ourselves in that truth, dedicate everything towards that truth. And if it's something that's coming out, figure out what it is and take it out. The third sadhana is Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, seeing that Vasudeva in all of our relationships. In life, a big thing is family, is friends, is society. Can I see that God, that Bhagwan, that truth in all my relationships? Some may be a little harder, some may be a little easier, but can I see that goodness? Can I see God? If I cannot see God, if I cannot see that, oh, there is God there, if I cannot see there is God in this person, there's God in this person, can I at least see goodness in that person? Can I at least see goodness? There was one nice story that tells us no matter who it is, there's always something good we can see. So there was this village, and in this village, they had a rule. The rule was they could only cremate somebody if somebody spoke good of them. So they would only do the cremation if somebody spoke good of them. Now there were these three brothers who caused a lot of trouble, lot of trouble. They would steal, they would cheat, they would lie, they would steal things, they would do all kinds of things in that village. And finally, what happened is the eldest of them, he passed away. Now the eldest is passed away, his body's there, and the rule in the village is that we have to cremate him. But we cannot cremate him until somebody speaks good of him. Now those two other brothers, they left also. They went away. They went away because they didn't want to deal with all of this. So now everybody is looking at each other. What to tell about this person? How do we cremate him? Everybody has had bad experiences with him. Everybody, they've been looted by him, cheated by him, he's lied to them. Bad experiences with him. They're all looking at each other, staring. Who's going to say something and what will they say? So one person finally stood up. And when this one person stood up, everybody's saying, what are they going to say now? What's going to happen? And this one person stood up and said, listen, this eldest brother, those two other brothers, better than them is him. He is the best of the worst lot. Those two are terrible, but those two are totally terrible. He is still better than them. So let us cremate him. So what is that? Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. In all of our relationships, in all of our relations with people, can we see that God? Can we see that goodness? Can we see something? Also in the world, it's not that in Sanatana Dharma, it's not that all negativities have to be eradicated. That's not what Sanatana Dharma is. It's not that all the Ravanas and the Rakshasas and the Asuras, it's not that they have to all be eradicated, because they always exist together. This is good exists with the power of evil. They exist together. And in some ways, that negativity or that disturbance is also required for the good to become stronger. Somebody like Ravana is required for Rama to rise. So like that, if we can see Vasudevaha Sarvam Iti. So for the Jnani, they see the whole world as Brahman. For Bhakta, whole world is Bhagavan. Everything is Bhagavan. This is not their sadhana. This is their nature. This is their nature. Everything is Bhagavan. Everything is that Brahman. So there is no fear. no issue, no drama. For us, what can be the sadhana? I've explained. One is see everything as taking us towards evolution. Everything is a blessing. Sadhana number 2, center everything on Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. Third is, in all our relationships, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. See that God in all of our relationships, or see goodness in all of our relationships. The fourth thing is to see God as our everything. That in our Arti we say, Tana Mana Dhana Sabha Hetera, right? Bhagavan, you are my everything. You are my wealth. You are my health. You are my home. You are my family. You are my brother. You are my sister. Cultivate this relationship of you are my everything. You are my everything. And I live for you. So in this way, this Vasudeva Sarvamiti can be practiced by anybody. Samahatma Sudurlabha. And this great Mahatma who thinks like this, who realizes this truth, Sudurlabha, is very, very rare. Very rare. Why? Now here in Narada Bhakti Sutra, there's a nice sutra that talks about Mahatma. And I will, whatever we can do, we'll do a little bit, but it explains how Mahatmas are so rare. It says, Mahat Sangastu Durlabaha Agamyaha Amogascha. So first is, Mahatmas are Sudurlabaha, they're hard to get in contact with. Because they don't want to be known. They're not out there to be recognized. They're not out there to be known to anybody or wanted. They like to keep to their own selves. And so they are rare. And they are very rare also because they've gone through these 8 steps. To fully go through those 8 steps, very, very rare. Very rare. And when these Mahatmas are there, what makes them even rare is agamyaha. We can't recognize them. Even if they come in front of us, we won't be able to say, oh, wow, they are here. Because they're so sometimes regular. Like Janabai, she was a housemaid. She was a housemaid. Or Ananda Mahima, she was just like a regular housewife. Nisargadat Maharaj, he was just rolling tobacco. Kabir Das Ji, he was a weaver. So sometimes these Mahatmas, they just appear as just natural, just normal beings, just like you and me, normal beings. They're just walking down the street, doing what they do. And because they're so unassuming, they're not out there saying, I know this, I know that. It's very hard to recognize. Very hard to recognize. And amogaha. Amogaha means that when we come in contact with them, wow, we will totally benefit. It is infallible that we will benefit. Such ones like Swami Tapovan Maharaj, incredibly rare. Somebody who's so steadfast on this knowledge. And he went to so many places and so many people would challenge him, would debate with him. And he was just always so calm, so poised. And he was very austere, so austere. He was so austere that the whole Himalayas recognized him, and where people would go beg for food, they would send food to Tapovan Maharaj because they said he is incredibly austere. So rare was he that many people came to study with him, very few people remained. because his knowledge was so deep and he was so strict. But what he gave was the absolute truth. So rare are people or Swamins like Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, who just left everything and he established Divine Life Society to serve the whole day serving. And in his services, he would meditate, he would do satsang, and he would also go serve tea to sadhus. He would go serve tea, he would heal them, he would care for them. He spent his whole day in service. It's so rare also are people like Puja Gurudev. I always think that if he did not come down from the Himalayas, what would have happened? Well, he sat there. He received this knowledge from Swami Tapovan Maharaj. He sat there by Ganga Maya and he said, this knowledge cannot stay in the Himalayas. It has to go down to the world. Because he set foot down the plains, we all benefited from this knowledge. So these Mahatmas, they're incredibly rare because they've put forth so much effort, so much sadhana to get to where they are. And even if they come in front of us, sometimes we don't even recognize their glory or greatness. Many people have told me that, oh, I wish I knew Gurudev. I wish I knew of him or how great he was, because when he came to our house, I just, somebody told me that he came to our house for Bhiksha and I didn't know. I just was playing around. I wish I knew. I would have spoken to him. I would have sat with him. So we don't recognize. But when we come in contact with them, we all benefit. This is called a Mahatma, right? So today, all I want you to do is just focus on that word, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Whatever practice you want to do, whatever thought you want to entertain, but let this be the practice of chapter 7. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. And if we keep living our lives like this, we will find a lot of peace. All right. We'll say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.